Oh, the Alina Habba saga continues. Now she's completely destroyed any semblance of criminal justice happening in New Jersey because she refuses to leave her job, even after a federal judge said she was unlawfully appointed to be the U.S. attorney in New Jersey. And now it's the revenge of the 21 judges of the Federal District of New Jersey, who are not going to allow that U.S. attorney's office to prosecute any cases. They've already upwards to 24 cases are now stuck in the mud because the judges that opposed Alina Habba have now opposed her again and are refusing to move forward with their cases, sentencing, trials, and the rest until she gets out of the seat. And now Trump and the Department of Justice have had to ask for an emergency appeal to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals because all hell has broken loose in New Jersey and cats and dogs are sleeping together and judges are not going to move their cases forward while Alina Habba is sniffing around anywhere near the U.S. Attorney's Office. And I love the new filing where they had to admit it to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. I'm Michael Popok. So I have you on the edge of your seat yet? I hope so. You're on MeidasTouch and Legal AF. This continuing saga of Donald Trump trying to make his office wife into a U.S. attorney continues. And because she won't go, despite being told to go by a federal judge last week who found her unlawfully appointed, the Department of Justice under Donald Trump's got to take an appeal. But in that appeal, they had to admit that the trial judges who are all against Alina Habba, and the reason that this Pennsylvania federal judge had to make the ruling at all is because the New Jersey judges were disqualified because they wouldn't extend Alina Habba's tenure as acting interim U.S. attorney, and they appointed somebody else who Donald Trump fired. We now have the revenge, which is great. We got a ruling, terrific. She's disqualified. We're not going to hear any cases. We're not going to do any sentencing. Everything's ground to a halt in New Jersey. And Donald Trump had to acknowledge it. Now, of course, when they acknowledge it, they make it sound like it's just ordinary, run of the mill. You know, they're trying to act like this happens every day in a federal district. Here's what they wrote, and I'm going to post the actual motion in Legal AF Substack, but let me get this in front of us all. So they filed an emergency motion, a consent motion for expedite an appeal. Now it's weird because they say they need to get on the next available appellate panel for the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, which sits in Pennsylvania, but then they lay out a briefing schedule that has the case being argued in November. So they're just going to let criminal cases not be progressed in New Jersey, no sentencing, no trials until November. That's okay with them. But here's what they have to admit in paragraph 6, which we'll put up on the screen also. Now they say that here's where they admit that the district judges, or at least 12 district judges out of 21, were already adjourning matters because they saw her as impermissibly appointed. In other words, those district judges were using self-help. They were like, we're not going to wait around for another federal judge to tell us what we can see with our own two eyes. She's improperly appointed because Donald Trump violated the Constitution and the Federal Vacancy Act in appointing her. So at least half of the bench was like thumbing their nose at Donald Trump and Alina Habba anyway. See, that's not covered well in mainstream media. You got to come here for this. So they have to acknowledge it. Even before Chief Judge Brand had issued his August 21 opinion, at least 12 district judges in the District of New Jersey had begun adjourning matters pending the resolution of these questions. The questions are whether Donald Trump could properly appoint her after she can't get confirmed by the Senate. The motion continues. Those adjourned matters include 3 trials that have been scheduled for September, several guilty plea hearings, several sentencing hearings, and a hearing related to something that happened at trial. That's just before Judge Brand made his ruling. Now, after Judge Brand made his ruling on the 21st, the filing continues. Yet another sentencing hearing was adjourned in a matter being jointly prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Jersey and the fraud section of the Criminal Division of the Department of Justice in Washington. The district judge in that matter, who I believe is Judge Salas, took the step even though Judge Brand stayed his orders and its effects pending an appeal. Well, not quite. I mean, he stayed it for a period of time. The longer it takes to resolve these appeals, the greater the risk that still more matters will be adjourned indefinitely, contrary to the interests of the government, the defendants, and the public. And then they set out a briefing schedule and asked to have the case heard in November and October. And also they want to accommodate, I mean, I appreciate this, but they want to accommodate the Jewish holidays of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and Columbus Day. When the courts, well, all the courts are not closed, which is very interesting because signing on to the motion about her not being valid is Alina Habba, acting U.S. Attorney, Special Attorney under acting U.S. Attorney, Special Attorney. That's the problem on page 5, but then signed by a Mark Coyne, supervisory assistant in Washington.
Hey everybody, Ben Meiselas here from the MeidasTouch Network. I wanted to let you know about my podcast partner, Michael Popok's new law firm. It's called the Popok Firm. Michael Popok's pursuing his dream of starting his own law firm, really based on the popular demand by all the Meidas Mighty and legal AFers who are approaching Michael Popok with their cases and saying, can you help us? And at that time, Popok was not able to. So he went out on his own. He started the Popok Firm, where he is now handling catastrophic injury cases like car accident cases, trucking cases, malpractice cases, big negligence cases, wrongful death cases. So if you or someone you know have a case like this, the consultation with Popok's firm is free. Give him a call. See if you have a case. It's thepopokfirm.com, thepopokfirm.com, or you can call 877-POPOK-AF, P-O-P-O-K-A-F. So 1-877-POPOK-AF. Give Michael Popok a call. And I'm really proud of you, Popok. Thanks for all the hard work you're putting in.
Oi, let's pick up the pieces here about what is going on with this case. Give me 1 second. I will do exactly that, I promise. So for those that are joining late, Alina Habba cannot get confirmed by the Senate because the 2 New Jersey senators are not going to give their permission, and that's part of the Senate protocol. It's called the blue slip process, and Senators Kim and Booker won't give their blue slips to support Alina Habba, mainly because she acted like a complete maniac for the 120 days she was in office, going after every Democrat in sight and trying to act like she was like some sort of, new sheriff in town, taking down all comers as long as they were Democrats. And so the judges had a choice. When her 120 days was over, they could give her another 120 days, like they did in New York for Jay Clayton, another person appointed by Donald Trump, or they could say, sorry, we're not extending it. There's now a vacancy, and under this rule, we're going to appoint who we want. And they did. A longtime federal prosecutor. They gave her the job to hold the job until Donald Trump can get somebody confirmed in the Senate. Well, Trump doesn't want to do that. He wanted Alina Habba. And I want her now, like Veruca Salt, from Willy Wonka. I want it now, Daddy. And the judges said, no, you can't have her now. And then he fired their pick, pissing off all the judges. He then tried to reappoint her, which he's not allowed to do under the rules or the law, and made her a special attorney to bring her in through the back door. Until Judge Brand, the chief judge in Pennsylvania, sitting as a New Jersey judge, because of the disqualifications of the other judges, said, no, there's only one way to do this. The president gets to pick a candidate. The candidate goes through a confirmation process. While they're going through the confirmation process, they can sit as the acting interim U.S. attorney. If they don't ever get confirmed or they never come up for confirmation and their 120 days is up and the judges don't extend that 120 days, then that person's out, can't be put back in the seat as the acting interim. That's reserved for somebody who can actually get the job. And the judges put a temporary substitute teacher in for that period. That's it. So Trump, you should stop trying to shove this square peg into a round hole and try to find a new peg to get confirmed. How about that? Now they're just grinding to a halt trials and prosecutions and sentencings in New Jersey, the 5th largest U.S. Attorney's office in America. So I'm going to continue to follow, but I love the fact that they had to tell the Third Circuit Court of Appeals that all hell had broken loose because of them and that the judges have rebelled. I mean, they didn't quite put it that way. And the fact that they have the balls to put Alina Habba's name on this, the problem is she's not the acting U.S. attorney. She's not a special attorney with the powers of the U.S. attorney. That's what Judge Brand just said. So get her off the pleadings. It's not helping. You know what's helping? Us being together here on MeidasTouch. I'm Michael Popok. Take a minute, hit the free subscribe button for MeidasTouch. Slide over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel, do the exact same thing. And guess what? We got a Legal AF Substack. It's on the rise. Come over to Legal AF Substack. Join 80,000 of your favorite Legal AFers. I'm posting all the orders, all the rulings. I do 2 live videos, or 2 lives a day where I can bring you into a huddle. 2,000-3,000 people. We can talk about issues as they occur in real time. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.